All right, it's time to look at one of the most acclaimed movie years ever, 1994. These are the 1995 Oscars about 1994. Did they get the Best Picture right? I don't think so, so let's repick it and figure out what should have won and what are the great movies from this. Recommendations for you coming up next. A lot of places on the internet say 1994 is a great year. Actually, I'm partial to the year before, the year after, a couple years after. I think the mid-90s, late 90s are great movie years. But I think this year is not as great as acclaimed. I think it's very top-heavy, but the depth is not there compared to some of the other years. Nevertheless, let's take a look at this year. Great stuff here. As usual, I play by the rules. The Oscar-eligible movies of that year, you can find them on this website, atogt.com. You can pick from them, although sometimes I cheat and add in not eligible movies that were made or that came out this year. So we look at the Oscar winners. Forrest Gump wins. Okay, Robert Zemeckis. I think a lot of the industry insiders like him. They certainly like that movie, of course, but, you know, he gets the Oscar for that, and he wins Best Director. Four Weddings and a Funeral, Pulp Fiction, Quiz Show, The Shawshank Redemption are your Best Picture nominees. And then if you look at the Best Director, once again, you know, actually this is unusual. They kept 3 Best Picture nominees, but took 2 out and put in Woody Allen, Bullets Over Broadway, and Krzysztof Kieslowski's Red. Now, this is not a bad list. I'm totally okay with it, or at least sort of okay with it as compared to other years, especially like the 1980s. But I must complain, I do not like Forrest Gump. Okay, go ahead and troll me. I've never liked it. Ever since I sat in the movie theater as a 12-year-old or 15-year-old, whatever the heck I was, I did not like that movie. It struck me as a boomer movie. The serendipitous, not-so-smart man who stumbles into all these boomer nostalgia events, along with the music. If I ever hear that Buffalo Springfield music in a movie again, I'm just going to walk out. I don't need to hear that song one more time in a movie. But, you know, this movie was not for me, maybe not for my generation or people of my generation. I'm a little cynical about it. I like Reality Bites a lot better, for example. So I'm going to throw that movie out to the side and its box of chocolates wisdom and throw in something that's a little bit better. And as you'll see, I think Four Weddings and a Funeral, I mean, I don't know, it's fine, but I think there are way better movies in this time period. So what would I pick? Well, here's my list, my draft of nominees. I'm going to pick 5 from those as my Best Picture nominees, and then the noteworthy list, which are my sort of second-tier movies that could, I think for some of you, could go up into the draft nominees list, and this is your recommendation list. And already, I must say, I screwed up. I forgot that Blue was the year before. I thought they were all in the same year. Not that they were all made and released in the same year, but I thought Blue, with the 3 colors trilogy, blue, white, and red, here they all are. Red and white were both eligible this year, but blue was the year before, so I missed that in that video. I'm very sorry about that. Just to mention in the noteworthy list, you know, I like What Stillman Barcelona, the Woody Allen movie, Bullets Over Broadway is pretty good to decent. I really like Clear and Present Danger's a thriller. Okay, I'm a sucker for that. My wife loves Little Women, so I'm putting it here. There sits Reality Bites. I really enjoy that movie as a Gen X statement. You compare that to Forrest Gump and you tell me it's worse. Okay, I love Reality Bites compared to Forrest Gump. Absolutely. But I think the second tier, it's not as strong as these other years I'm talking about. So, but you get to the top tier, my draft nominees, this is a top heavy year. It's kind of impossible to pick 5 from this. And I think if we took 100 of you watching this, we'd have, you know, and you picked your top 5, we'd have 30 to 40 different lists, maybe more than that, out of these movies and other things you might pick. So go ahead and give me your 5 Best Picture nominees and then your Best Picture nominee. Try to select it before you get to the end of this video, or I will select mine. Now, there's several not eligible movies. They weren't eligible at the time. I still like some of them. In fact, I love some of them. I might keep them. Before the Rain, a great movie. I've covered it on my channel. Blue, okay, I probably should throw that away because red and white are there and it was eligible the year before. Chungking Express, not eligible. I love that movie. I think it's fantastic. I love the bifurcated structure of it and how the parts might fit together. And Through the Olive Trees, the third in the Coker trilogy. It's my least favorite of the Coker trilogy, but it's still an excellent movie in every single way. So I'm putting it up here, even though it's not eligible. Now to pick 5 from these, I don't know exactly what to do. I've got some ideas. The thing is, should I go with my head or my heart? Should I go with what I want or what I think other people would want? Always a vexing choice for awards. You know, I think that's a problem with all kinds of awards everywhere in the world, but especially the Oscars. You know, people want to go along to get along or want to nominate their buddies, something like that. But here, you know, Ed Wood, my buddy. I love this movie, always have. I rewatch it every 2-3 years. It's always awesome to me. I love the performances, I love the look of it, I love what it's about, and so this is my favorite Tim Burton movie easily. Martin Landau in this is fantastic. I can't but help pick this one, so I'm gonna put this one and Chungking Express in my top 5, and I don't care what you think. Although I bet many of you would not put Ed Wood in this, and I don't blame you. Hoop Dreams, I'm a basketball fan. Favorite basketball movie, at least one of the best sports movies ever. It's a documentary, of course, but it's about so many things. How can I not pick that? Okay, I'm going to pick it. That's in my top as well. I think Quiz Show is excellent. Okay, I really do. Pulp Fiction is probably the best chatty movie of this time period, a time period where a lot of chatty, cool guy movies were coming out before this and after this. So that Gen X cynical, talky sort of thing. Movies like Slacker and Clerks, Reality Bites here. So Pulp Fiction of its time, and a really interesting movie. I think the Gold Watch section is excellent, but I'm going to really make some of you mad. I'm not going to put it in my top 5. That's too hard, but, in most of the years I would have. I think it's worthy to mention as such. It's just never grabbed me as much as the masses or other people. I probably missed the boat on this one. Sorry. I'm sure it's in my top 7, but not my top 5 here. What would I put in its place? I love Shawshank Redemption. I think it's probably not the best movie ever made, as IMDb would have it, but it's very, 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 very good. I've rewatched it several times. It's always, always good. So I'm going to keep that one. And I have to keep one of the Red, White, and Blue trilogy. Wish I could throw the whole trilogy in there. It's a little vexing, but I'm going to keep Red. So those are my top 5. But I must put a plug in. Vanya on 42nd Street is a fantastic movie. I covered that in the channel. To Live is an excellent Chinese movie, so be sure to check those out. Now a reason through my top 5. And should I break my rules and keep an eligible movie? Chungking Express. Maybe this is an innovative movie. This influenced Tarantino to some extent, or he loves it. I don't know what it influenced exactly with him, but I know he said he loves it. Hoop Dreams is really a smorgasbord of a movie topically. That one's tempting to pick. Shawshank probably deserves it, but what should I pick?
And the Oscar goes to
Red by Krzysztof Kieślowski. I'm actually doing here what the Oscar voters did during this year, and I'm not saying this is wrong. I have mixed feelings on it. They picked Robert Zemeckis, great guy apparently, great in the movie industry. They picked his movie Forrest Gump. He'd done a lot of great work in the past. Now he gets his time and his due, as Spielberg had in the previous year with Schindler's List. In my mind, Kieślowski ought to win an Oscar for Best Picture. I just don't know where or when he should. I've already covered his whole lifetime, or his whole filmography at this point on my channel, with all these Oscar movie videos from the 80s and now the 90s. This is my last opportunity. And the Decalogue, you just can't pick that. Or I don't see how, because it was a TV series and not eligible. So wouldn't that be cheating to pick the Decalogue? So I got to pick one of these, don't I? Red is an excellent movie. I can understand if you don't like it as much as I do. But it's my favorite of the trilogy, although most people, or many people, love Blue the best. I think Red is complicated. It's about an interesting, strange relationship that develops. It's about image in society, postmodernism, justice in society. All kinds of broad topics. And I've always relished in thinking about it and being entertained by it. So that's a very good. Same with Hoop Dreams, by the way, and Shawshank Redemption. So to me, these are all thinking person movies that you can be wildly entertained. At least I have been wildly entertained by, but you could too. Most of the years, these movies would have won Best Picture. I'm saying the 1980s, I look at the early 1980s, you pluck one of these movies out and put in the early 1980s, it would have won my Best Picture for that year, or one of those early years in the 1980s. I think the 90s are just too strong for some of these movies to survive as award winners. But of course, as usual, it's folly to pick one. Just go watch all of them. There's no need to really have an award winner. They all are winners in my book. Question is, what do you think about 1995 Oscars, the 19 movies from 1994? Take a look at the Oscar eligible list, or go ahead and cheat. Tell us your winner, tell us why, and make these comments rich and interesting so people can go mine them for recommendations. I recommend that you try to do that. There's lots of great viewers of this channel, and they know what they're talking about. Thanks for watching. Check out my other videos in this series, the 80s to the 90s, and I'll try to keep going with them before and after this time period. Thanks a lot. Please subscribe. See ya. Have a great day. All right, I just made the video. I need to make an addendum. I must admit something. I didn't watch a couple movies I probably should have. One was Burnt by the Sun, which won the Academy Award for Best Foreign Language International Picture. The copy that I got was a VHS transfer on a DVD. It looked terrible. It didn't do justice to the movie. I need to watch a better version of that. And I wasn't gonna watch the movie and then think badly about it when I wasn't seeing it in its full glory. But the other omission, a number of you probably picked up on this. So good eyeballs. Satan Tango, I don't know how to pronounce this. Bellator's 7-hour movie. Man, that was going to be a chore to watch. I will watch it. I must admit, it's going to be hard to find time to watch a 7-hour movie when I have all this other stuff to do. So I have no excuse for that, and you may pick that, although it was not eligible. So it wouldn't have probably cracked my, top 5 or certainly one Best Picture here. But you may love this movie and tell me why you love this movie. People in my life say it's too long, it's too boring. I don't trust that entirely, but I'll rectify that one day, so I apologize for that. I usually do due diligence in this, but here I was lazy, so I admit that.